Raw review, Monday, the January 7th, 2013, the very first episode of Raw in 2013. Let's begin with Dolph Ziggler going up against John Cena. Dolph Ziggler hitting Cena with everything he had, all his signature moves and his finishers, the sleeper hold, the zigzag. He did that famouser, I don't know what you would call it, it's not a kick, or it's kind of like a leg, back of the neck move. I don't know what the heck it is. I guess it might be a variation of a bulldog. But Cena, he just kicked out of every single thing. Talk about Superman. Talk about Super Cena. Even like, Big E Langston, he interfered as well. And he delivered his big ending finisher, which is basically a sort of a variation of a cutter. Cena wins via attitude adjustment. And just like that, I mean, you know what I mean? He just hits Dolph Ziggler with this one move, his AA, and then boom, Dolph Ziggler's finished. So I don't know. I mean, it's like, on one hand, it's kind of cool that Dolph Ziggler took Cena to the limit, and Dolph Ziggler did everything he could. He looked good, looked like he could win. But at the end of the day, Cena still just kept kicking out, and he was just way too freaking overbooked and overpowered, and it just kind of pissed me off, because I was just like, man, just if Ziggler beats Cena again, it would be just further established. I don't even want Ziggler necessarily to win, but just instead of Cena just kicking out of everything he has, maybe have it like a DQ or something. But the fact that it was such a clean win for Cena despite everything that happened, I thought it was just irritating. It was just Super Cena right up the ass. Brad Maddox approaching Paul Heyman once again to referee the Ryback versus CM Punk match, which is later tonight. Heyman refuses. He's like, get out of here, get out of my life. Don't approach Vicky, don't approach Punk. I don't know what the hell's going on with Brad Maddox. I mean, this guy, I don't know what his story is. I just don't get it. He's just this random character they brought in from FCW or whatever. Apparently Triple H is high on him, but I don't even... That doesn't matter to me, because it's like he's constantly being featured, but he's not in any matches. He has no storylines, really. Like, he's not going after any of the titles. I mean, he's just a random backstage character right now, and I just don't know, like, if they have any real plans for this guy. He's really irrelevant. Wade Barrett destroying Santino Marella. Yeah, that was pretty nice to see. I like how Wade just made fun of Steamboat and Santino, like, oh yeah, this guy's a has-been, this guy's never was. That was great. Antonio Cesaro going up against Great Khali. Sort of a rematch from the main event match they had. Got a lot of buzz because Cesaro was able to pick up Great Khali for the Neutralizer. This time he did it again, but it seemed even more elevated. Got pretty good pop from the crowd. I was really impressed as well. Cesaro's the man. Ryback against CM Punk. This was the TLC match for the WWE Championship, which, I mean, what a pretty good match. It was definitely the best match of the night. Best moments. A lot of crowd reaction in this one, and I thought it was great. If this had been part of TLC last year's pay-per-view, it probably would have been pretty good, but I still prefer the Shield versus the three guys, Orton and those other guys. Or no, not Orton. Wait, no, it was Ryback and Team Hell No. My bad. I don't know why I thought of Orton. I guess it was because of last week, or one of the weeks when Orton came out with Sheamus and those guys. Anyway, it was very physical, a lot of different spots, a lot of punishment inflicted on both guys. Ryback seemed like he put away Punk by throwing him to the outside table. Wow, that was pretty brutal. Nearly grabbed the title, climbing up the ladder. The crowd was like, yeah, you know what I mean? They were really into it, hoping he would get it, but of course, predictably, admittedly, but it was still pretty exciting. The lights turned off, so you knew Ryback was not gonna win this at all. The Shield interfering once again in the Ryback match. Ryback gets powerbombed, just gets attacked, put through a table, and CM Punk retains the championship. I thought it really was a pretty decent match, though. Afterwards, CM Punk, he cut a long-winded semi-shoot promo in the ring about how the fans never really mattered and Punk did everything by himself. He name-dropped a few people like Tyson Kidd, taking a backseat to Little Jimmy, Daniel Bryan's technical aspects that's being overshadowed by catchphrases, and Brodus Clay's monster potential that's constantly buried under this kid-friendly, goofy gimmick. It seemed like Punk was just trying way too hard, though, to be a heelish guy, like, oh, I'm evil, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know if it's because he's got his set of cult fans that will like him no matter what, or just his natural charisma. But he came across as insincere, as a heel, like he was just trying too hard. Half the crowd just doesn't care, or they just seem kind of bored, like, whatever. The Rock finally came out. He played to the crowd, obviously, the people. They were important, and, you know, how Punk lost the fans, you know, after being champion. And he cut some jokes regarding CM Punk's cookie puss, and that was the big crowd chanting moment. Kind of like Fruity Pebbles with John Cena. Punk lashing back, you know, he's like, I'm gonna kick the Rock's ass, I'm gonna kick your ass at the Royal Rumble. He dropped this line, he's like, your arms are too short to box with God, which I've heard a million times. That's a line that's been around for a long time. It's not a... CM Punk never came up with that by himself. It's a line, it's either from a movie or a song. I've heard it many times and referenced by rappers through many songs. Guys like, what's his name? Killa Army, you know, he's had a song, your arms are too short to box with God, dun, 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 dun. You know, so it's not a, yeah, but the crowd seemed impressed nonetheless. But the people, they were still a little bit half interested, just kind of half tired though, like they were just like, you know, almost like trying to get themselves into it, until The Rock mentioned that you're going to be one-on-one with the Great One, and then he rock-bottomed CM Punk. And that got a pretty good reaction, and that was it. I mean, that was pretty much the ending to the show. Other matches they had was Randy Orton defeating Heath Slater, Cody Rhodes, and Damian Sandow defeating Team Hell No, Sheamus squashing Jinder Mahal, and Big Show quickly punching out Kofi Kingston, just like that. So tonight we saw two 3MB members losing on the same night to higher card wrestlers. These guys are jobbers. I mean, they're glorified jobbers right now. It's kind of interesting that Drew McIntyre didn't get anything. I don't know if they're trying to protect him. It's like, oh, he's the highest one on the card anyway, so it's like, he's a step above these two. Jinder doesn't matter. Heath Slater doesn't matter. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if maybe somewhere down the road, Drew McIntyre's going to be branched off and he's going to do his thing as a solo, wrestler. Let's see. The Big Show thing. That just an easy squash match for him. What else? The Rhodes Scholar thing, to me, just, it was alright, I guess. They're probably going to have a match at the Royal Rumble for the title, the tag team titles, rather. And I thought the main event moment, or the main event segment, was really tired. I thought it sucked. I thought it was boring. The Rock sucked, in my opinion. I thought CM Punk sucked. I thought it sucked because there was no chemistry between the two. It seemed kind of forced. It seemed insincere. It just wasn't a good segment. It just seemed like, oh, because they're having a match at Royal Rumble later this month, let's force up this build. Let's have these two guys finally confront each other after, months and months passed by, after Raw 1000 where CM Punk attacked Rocky. By the way, that segment I thought was, that was such a long time ago, and they really never built up to that. They never had any promos or interviews or segments. It just seemed like, well, let's drop this little piece of this seed, and then down the line we'll have a match between the two, and it just seemed kind of crappy. There's no build-up. It's not a good, properly built-up feud where there's a consistent reminder. Rather, what they did at tonight's episode was they kept cramming that stupid segment, and then I think it's to fill up time, because I don't know how long Raw was. I never watch it on TV anymore. I watch it online, but it was a couple of hours. So I don't know if it was 3 hours this time, but it seemed like they kept showing this, this promo package of CM Punk and The Rock, and it was kind of boring, repetitive. This doesn't interest me in any way, shape, or form. I think the match is probably going to be decent, but it's just like The Rock versus Cena, except not nearly as big. Despite CM Punk's long title reign, it seems like Punk has been champion for a long time, but he's just going to lose it anyway, and it doesn't matter. He's boring as the champion. His promos have been really boring. Very uninterested with his character. The only thing that's good about CM Punk is Paul Heyman. I like Paul Heyman's character, but he's just a lackey. And The Rock was really boring. I was just tired of The Rock. Not exciting. Honestly, I just wish he'd stay away or go to a different feud or do something else. He's inconsistent. He only appears once or twice a year. It's fucking ridiculous how this guy comes back, barely does anything, and it's like, wow, he's back. I'm tired of The Rock. It's kind of crazy. I'm like one of the biggest fans of this guy back in the 90s, and he's really boring. It's not the same. It's not the same Rock. He's old, he's bald, he's got wrinkles. It's not the same young, Rock with the hair and the expensive, multicolored T-shirts. It's not the same anymore. It's not the Attitude Era Rock. It's a very PG era Rock, and it's not impressing me. I think this build-up or lack of build-up is terrible. Royal Rumble should be probably really decent, but I'm not really expecting too much. The way they build up matches now is fucking terrible. But that's pretty much it for this episode of Review Space. Until next time, ciao.